The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast. Alrighty, guys. Welcome to today's show. Welcome very much. How you doing, Jimmy? Sorry we're running a little late, but welcome. As you can see, we're going to be featuring social media American Jeopardy. So I'm your host, not Alex Trebek, but Michael Gardner. Joining us, guys, we'll have the very first contestant here, Jimmy the Rant, as well as Joseph M. Lenard going to be joining us from Terror Strikes. So those are our contestants. We were supposed to have the third contestant, but freaking Sauce, man, had some kind of issue like he always has. But what can you do, right?
We're gonna have to get him via satellite next time.
I'm telling you, we're gonna have to do something. I was really looking forward to having Sauce as the third contestant here with social media American Jeopardy. And this would be a first for Joseph meeting Sauce on the show. So, it happens,
Yeah, hey, what are you going to do? Sometimes you're in a bad area. Where's he? He's from, he's up north somewhere, Vermont or something like that.
Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, never mind. He's even further than I thought. So, I don't know. I don't know how it is out there. Maybe the service isn't all too great.
Yeah. It is what it is, right? So, without being said, guys, we're going to bring in Joseph M. Lenard here on the show. Welcome, Joseph. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing good. Good to see you guys.
Very good, very good. So we're going to kick off the show here in a little bit here. I want to pretty much folks, I want to let you know that this is all for a goof, obviously, right? So, let me get my game face in here, my game show voice in, right, for the voiceover. So I'm going to try my best here, guys, to bring out the show very comical, do the voiceover from the actual show of Jeopardy, right? So we'll try our best here, guys, okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Social American Jeopardy. Joining us today from New Jersey, Jimmy the Rant. All righty. Welcome, Jimmy. How you doing, buddy? And then joining us here from the author of Terror Strikes, Joseph M. Lenard.
We do like that. Just some finger snaps for you.
So, obviously you could say that the budget is only for like $20 here because most of this stuff comes from Family Dollar. So,
Sorry, man. Support the show, people. We can get a bigger budget and do bigger games.
I'm telling you, but we do want to thank Family Dollar here for basically sponsoring this, which they're really not sponsoring it, but we want to make it a goof here anyway. Brought to you by Family Dollar for the material of $20. So, you can't beat it.
Kudos to Family Dollar.
What?
I say kudos to Family Dollar.
Kudos to Family Dollar. So here's the first. Here is the first category. What is a liberal for $300? Political corruption for $100. Green New Deal for $250, and fact checkers for $500. So I'm going to go to the first contestant here, Jimmy the Rant. What would you like to pick, sir?
I hope I get something right. Let's go with political corruption.
Political corruption. Okay. So, who was the first person in charge of organizing the social distancing in 2020?
The first person. Let me make sure I think about that.
Okay, we got to do the Jeopardy music.
I'd like to. Fauci?
You are correct, Anthony Fauci. Cha-ching. All righty. All right, we're going to go to Joseph M. Leonard.
I'm going to shoot for big money already. Let's go with fact checkers for 5.
Fact checkers for 5. Okay. All right. And as you can see, guys, I'm trying my best to fill in the shoes of Alex Trebek here. I'm no Alex Trebek, but I'm trying my damnest here. Okay. You said, what was it? You said this one, right? Fact checkers for 500, right? Okay. Fact checkers for 500. Here we go. In recent months, there was a recent department added to the Biden administration of fact checking. Who was that organization and who was in charge of it?
It's under Department of Homeland Security, the Disinformation Board, also known as the Orwellian Ministry of Truth, and it was Nina somebody. I can't think of her last name.
Okay, you do have to give the first and last name, sir, in order to win the $500.
Yeah, Nina Dumblipiewicz.
Okay, you are wrong. Okay, we go to Jimmy the Rant.
It was close, though.
Jimmy the Rant, if you can answer this, sir, you get $500 and an all-expense trip paid to Orlando, Florida.
Well, I don't think I want to go down there, so there's nothing for me to visit. I only know the first name. I know she just stepped down, but I don't have the last name.
Okay, who was that, sir?
I don't have the last. I don't know the last name. I forget.
Okay, we're going to have to say the person that was in charge of this, that just recently stepped down in resignation, she's quitting, was Nina Javakovits.
Oh.
Yes.
I didn't remember the last name.
Yeah. So here we go to Joseph M. Leonard. We're going to give you another chance here. And if you strike out one more time, then that's it. You're done with Social Media America Jeopardy. So.
Well, I better set my sights a little lower then. Let me go with what is a lib for 300.
What is a lib for 300? Okay. All righty. Okay. In 2019, she was in charge of orchestrating the first liberal agenda. Who was that person?
Liberalism goes way back, so who the heck would you be maybe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct, sir.
That's the only person I could have thought you were going for there. Yeah, squad member AOC. Yeah.
Yes. And may I say, we're going to have a voiceover here in the show, all right? And ladies and gentlemen, Jerry, what has Joseph won? Well, Michael, he won a all-exclusive trip to liberal New York City. During this trip, you will be staying in the finest sewers of Manhattan, dealing with the homeless bums and insulin needles upon your request. Also, the meal of choice would either be a hamburger that is now suffering into the 4th and final month of its expiration date, and also you will be sleeping on piss and diarrhea-filled mattresses. Congratulations, Joseph. Welcome. Thank you.
Oh, what an honor. Well, at least you didn't have to include the crack pipe since the Biden administration already sent those.
Yeah. So now we go to Jimmy the Rant. Jimmy the Rant, what would you like to pick now?
Let me say stay in the same category, but for 200. That was political corruption.
Political corruption. You guys like that political corruption, huh? Okay.
Well, I do.
All right. Political corruption. Here we go. All righty. Political corruption. In recent years, large corporations have entered what social causes from the 2020 murder of George Floyd?
Social clauses. Shit. You got inclusion and fucking, what's the other one? I forget the word, but not equality. Maybe equality. Inclusion and equality.
Okay, inclusion, equality, and racial division was the third one. But we are going to give you that correct, sir, and you have won. And let's explain to the viewers here. Jerry, please explain to the viewers what Jimmy the Rant has won. Well, Jimmy the Rant has won an all-expense trip to communist China. Great.
Nice.
Awesome.
I'm happy. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
If I don't
we're going to
see
go
it-
to
if I don't see
Joe.
it, I'm a prisoner. If I don't see you, I'm a political prisoner.
What's that?
I said, if you don't see me, if you don't hear from me, I've become a political prisoner.
Well, we're going to have to try to call up Homeland Security. Oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. Doesn't Joe Biden run that? Yes,
No,
Michael.
They have political prisoners here now too, so we don't want to call them either.
Yeah. So we'll try your best to get you back. You know, according to what happened just recently in Afghanistan, where Joe Biden promised to get people back, but he couldn't get people back. So we'll promise to get you back. All right, we're gonna go to Joseph M. Lenard here. Joseph M. Lenard, what category would you like?
Well, let's hope if you send Jimmy, since Biden's so weak, maybe Jimmy could talk Xi into not invading Taiwan. So that might actually be a good thing to send him there. But we haven't done Green New Deal, so let's go with that.
All right, Green New Deal. Great. Okay.
Just we get the whole breadth and width of the questions.
Right. And you are the last person to pick this category. And then after that, we have to go into the last category, and whoever wins that wins the entire social media Jeopardy. So you did Green New Deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In 2019, she and who others were in charge of this new Green New Deal agenda?
Well, that was AOC again, wasn't it?
Congratulations!
So I just get to answer AOC for every question now, I think, and I'll be okay.
Yeah. Let's tell the viewers what Joseph won. Well, Michael, Joseph has won an all-exclusive trip to socialist Venezuela. In this trip, he will suffer from high levels of socialism, no freedom, and no liberties whatsoever. So congratulations, Joseph. You won. That's great.
Sounds great. I can bring back $1 billion Venezuelan bill, which is worth, about 50 cents?
Yeah, and when would you like to take this trip? You have up to 3 months to take this trip.
Sounds good.
Okay, just let you know, Joseph, that this trip is only a one-way trip. There's no round trip whatsoever.
It's kind of like your trip to Hotel California, all right? You can check out, but you can never leave.
Yes, and there's no glass ceiling or mirrors involved. So, all right. So we're going to go to the last question here. Okay, the last question. And that is going to be
Whoops, we lost you, Mike.
Did we lose him? We're now in control of the show, folks.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh my God!
There
Here we
he
are
is.
again. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
I got you.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulties on the show because, when we have social media American Jeopardy, hey, it's not the actual Jeopardy show, so the budget is very low. Okay, the very last question. Okay, goes to Joseph and Jimmy. Whoever wins this question wins the almighty trip. Okay, and the almighty trip will be an exclusive MAGA trip. Let's tell the listeners who will win that trip and what it includes. Well, Michael, the trip includes the all-exclusive MAGA trip. On this trip, you will see freedom, liberties, everything that makes up what America truly is. In this trip, you will see no Joe Bidens, no Kamala Harris's, no AOC's, no social distancing, no fact-checking, no masks. It will be a paradise among its own paradise. So, whoever wins this, guys, this is the almighty trip. Okay. Now, in 2016, Donald Trump said this quote, and I quote this: "If we lose the what in 2020, we lose it forever."
White House.
Jimmy the Rant.
The vote?
You get one more. You get one more answer, and then that's it.
The country?
Joseph. What was that?
The country or the nation?
You are correct.
Hey!
Hey, Joseph has won the all MAGA trip. Congratulations, guys. You have won. For Jimmy, well, what has Jimmy won? Jimmy has won an all-exclusive trip. No refunds whatsoever.
Yeah, to New Jersey.
No. You will be sent to communist Cuba forever. Wow, that's
Well, at least they got cigars.
Yeah.
That's sad news.
I thought he was going to get a participation trophy.
Cuba's not as bad as like sending someone to California.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd rather go to Cuba than Venezuela. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too. So we're done with social media Jeopardy. I hope everybody had fun. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. Like I said, guys, this was a total goof. It wasn't it wasn't a real game show. Hopefully the ratings didn't go down too bad. So
you got to have fun once in a while. What are you going to do?
Gotta have fun.
Well, it's kind of hard to go down from zero.
Yeah. One viewer coming in on Rumble saying, "Hey, Mike, you tried your best on social media American Jeopardy. Can we see a sequel? Hopefully soon."
And we'll do it bigger and better.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could do America Says next time.
Hey, that would be awesome. But Joseph, I do want to basically get into the final installment here with you, sir, on the show. We're gonna make this part 4 here. We got into for those who are just tuning in or didn't hear the 3rd episode, we got into a little bit of Joseph's book, Terror Strikes, how he got involved with the writing industry. And I pretty much went from there, Joseph, didn't we?
Yep. And I'm glad that you had me on for 4 episodes. Lame joke coming, because I've always wanted to be drawn and quartered.
Yeah. I did so too. I do. Yeah. I do want to pretty much catch up, Jimmy, with that episode. We got into a little bit of your passions, how you got involved. I mean, this goes all the way back to, your roots, right, Joseph? You got into writing because of your parents, you said, right? Like your parents were into it. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad had a polka band, and you're in New Jersey. I'm sure they've heard of him out there. He's traveled all over. He used to travel all around the, Northeast. It was Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings. I mean, you could still find their recordings today. They were pretty popular. So,
oh yeah.
Well, that was like a genre of music really popular in the Polish community, or no?
Oh yeah, mostly the Polish communities, right? Or German too. I mean, there's German polkas.
Oh, you're right. And we do have we have a large Polish population in New Jersey, especially Hudson County. Well, used to be, but there's still a lot. Went to school with a lot of Polish kids, so maybe I'll ask my one of my guys when I go to work tomorrow if they've heard of the band. Polka. Polka, polka, polka. It reminds me of Home Alone when she gets to the airport and there's no planes to get home, and John Candy comes up and he's like, hey, me and my polka band are driving across the country. You never heard of it?
Well, he said he was the Polka King of Chicago, right?
Yeah.
You never heard of Polka King of Chicago? Hit me, baby, 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 and
the bougie polka.
Yeah, Chinese polka.
That's
hit me
great,
polka.
Great tie-in, guys. I never thought we'd have gone down that road.
Yeah. So last night here, I do want to brief last night, Joseph. Jimmy and I, we did a little something different here on the show. Got into some pro wrestling, some MMA, which was a really good episode, really damn good episode, I must say. A lot of good live views. Still waiting for the regular, because on Rumble, Joseph, obviously, there's two different categories with Rumble. You have the live view count, and then you have the actual count. So I'm looking at the actual count. It's only up to like 40 views, I believe, on the actual count of Rumble. But the live views, man, were up to like almost 7,000 the first like 30 minutes of the show. So that's phenomenal. Let's give a round of applause. Yeah. So good stuff there.
That's a
really good episode.
It's a popular sport these days. I myself never got into the MMA stuff, but there's a lot of people who really like it. So,
listen, sometimes you got so much stuff going on, right? Like we're coming off, big shooting up in Buffalo. Like, so people, inflation, people can't find baby formula. So it's good for the soul when you talk about stuff other than politics sometimes. And, you let people know that, we let our hair down a little bit, you know what I mean? And kind of talk out of the box on some other stuff. So it was a good time last night. And, people, they want to hear other things sometimes. So it's always good to mix it up.
Yeah, I've been getting into, although the Michigan Panthers suck, I've been getting into and watching the USFL this season, been enjoying it because the Detroit Lions, of course, in the NFL always suck. So any alternative
what was it? Hey, Joseph,
team,
when was the last time they won a Super Bowl, Detroit?
They never won a Super Bowl.
Exactly. I'm sorry. That was a joke. Yeah.
There was a champion. They did win a championship with Bobby Lane before the Fords took over the team entirely, which is why I say it's not necessarily the coaches or the players. It's the Ford ownership curse, and we need them to sell the team.
Yeah.
Are you a Red Wings fan too?
Oh, yeah. I used to play hockey as an amateur. I also coached hockey and officiated hockey. So, yeah, I'm a big Red Wings fan, but unfortunately, they've sucked the last couple of years too.
Well, I got an interesting story, right? My grandmother's a big Detroit fan because she's from Sault Ste. Marie
yeah.
She's from Sault Ste. Marie, right there on the border up by Canada.
Yep.
And, she came from they used to like churn their own butter up there. You know what I mean? That's what she told me. So she said one day they were coming back from somewhere and they ran into some players from the Red Wings. And they said, my great grandfather was a big fan. Would you guys like to come over for dinner? And fucking like 5-6 guys walk in the house with her and come home for dinner. My grandfather's sitting there like, what the hell's going on? Like, I always thought that was an interesting story. You know what I mean? Because When will you ever get the chance to say something like that again? And hockey guys have always been kind of stand up and more personable. Like you see them on the street and they're fucking, those guys are built tough.
Yeah. I've got an interesting Red Wing story from way back. Like I said, I played hockey as an amateur. I was a goaltender. Well, my dad also was a hockey coach, so somehow he had a connection with the Red Wings, and he took me up to Olympia Arena, and I was on the ice, and Gordie Howe came and took shots on me while I was in the net. So how cool was that, huh?
How bad did you get beat up?
Oh yeah. I mean, he took it pretty easy on me, but yeah. Yeah, he was nice. He took it easy on me, and of course, then I met Howe a few times after that. He had his book Number 9. That was a great book. I've got an autographed copy of that lying around still, and the good old days.
Yeah, man, that's cool stuff. Definitely good stuff right there. And so, I mean, I didn't catch much of the last episode as much, but how's the book doing right now? Terror Strikes.
Doing pretty good. Last week, we sold 7,000 Kindle versions. So, I mean, that's a pretty good number from a first-time internationally published author. So my publisher was telling me in that week promotion that they did that they hadn't seen anybody's Amazon rankings climb like mine did. On Kindle, it went to number 1 in political thrillers and number 1 in terrorism. So that was great. Now, promotion is over, but my numbers
Joseph,
are still
let me stop right
good.
there. Joseph, you said 7,000 freaking views?
7,000 books. Yeah, 7,000
books. Okay.
Well, 7,000 Kindle downloads of the book.
Holy shit. That's crazy, man.
They'd never seen numbers like that with Illumify Media. And also my book is the first book ever on McHenry Press, named after Fort McHenry, which, of course, Francis Scott Key wrote Off the Coast of, wrote the Star Spangled Banner. So,
we got it. Yeah, Joseph, we got into that just on part 3 about Henry Press. That your book literally is like Jimmy. His book is literally the first book published on that publishing platform. That's tremendous. I mean, that's a marker right there. I mean,
yeah, you'll be able to use my name and my book as a trivia question next year, which was the first book and author on McHenry Press, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Illumify Media. So I'm rather proud of that. So yeah, I don't like to brag, but that's a pretty big deal. That's quite an honor.
You're damn right, it's a big damn deal. Let's give a round of applause, Jesus. Big damn deal. What?
I think we might be looking at the next Tom Clancy over here. Like, what do you see? Obviously, this book is fiction with based. I don't know. Would we say based loosely on true events or influenced by current affairs and true events? What do you see yourself writing next in the future? Is there anything in the works? Are you planning on doing more fiction geared towards this, or some nonfiction as well, like a little bit more factual about anything?
Yeah, I see myself next going to a completely fiction book. But yeah, I call this book a faction book because it's part fiction, part fact. Several chapters deal with actual historical reporting, if you will, historical information of real terrorist attacks. And then, the fiction story is built around those factual reportings, because those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it, as they say, or more commonly, nowadays we say history doesn't repeat, but it sure as hell seems to rhyme a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we're starting to see that, Joseph. Even with today's society, like we're seeing it like throughout, the entire board. You see it, with this whole Roe versus Wade story, which dates back to the 70s. We're seeing, remnants of, BLM kind of piggybacking a little bit off of, the Black Panthers, just a little bit of it, So, I mean, we are seeing, history does repeat itself, without a doubt.
Well,
yeah. Well, unfortunately, again, one of the reasons why I wrote the book is because after 2001, after 9/11, people swore to never forget. Well, and then especially during the Wuhan virus lockdowns, people kind of forgot because they believe or bought into this myth that terrorism stopped. It didn't. You just didn't hear about it because the media, the liberal media, was focused on the Wuhan virus hysteria as a narrative to try to unseat Trump. So terrorism has been happening. And you mentioned, one of you mentioned Buffalo. My friends, there were 202 mass shooting terrorist events already this year. You likely heard of 3 at the most. So literally, terror strikes coming soon to a city near you. And it's not just the big cities. We had Milwaukee over the weekend. And of course, the killings in Chicago continue over the weekend. We had, there's so many of them that I forget them. I can't remember them all.
I mean, what happened recently in Buffalo I would consider that a domestic terrorist attack, without a doubt. I don't try to play the line anymore, and I'm not going to do the whataboutism where I'm going to compare, what's going on in Chicago to what happened up there. Now, again, I'm a conspiracy guy, and I always think outside the box. I go, all right, well, you had the subway shooter recently. He didn't hit one person. Cameras didn't work. They couldn't find the guy, had no information. Then you got the guy in Buffalo. They have a video, same night, manifesto, same day. He doesn't get shot or killed. He gets taken into custody. So I always think, I try not to like put conspiracy on everything, because then what can you believe is true and what's not true? But I would say that, that would be considered a terrorist attack. And what goes on in other parts of the country is crazy. And I guess you could say, like, when you live in a neighborhood like bad parts of Chicago or any of the big cities, I mean, those are comparable terrorist attacks too, because if you can't safely walk to the corner store at night without having to worry about getting shot or robbed, I mean, those are terrorist actions, whether it be a group of guys or whatever. But I'm not a big fan of the word terrorist being thrown around, but we do use it, right? Because there's a lot of keywords that they always pump out into the mainstream media to kind of, herd the sheep towards that direction. But I mean, now that the focus has changed from brown people being terrorists, right? Because that was the narrative for such a long time, right? That terrorists were from the Middle East. They had a certain look. They, worshipped a certain religion. Now the shift has gone over to terrorism only being domestic terrorism with white people in the United States. What do you see? How do you feel about the transformation of the focus of terrorism, right, on what they're doing? And do you think that, we're in any kind of danger from a foreign enemy as far as another terrorist attack in the country?
Well, you touched on quite a bit there, and let me make a quick note here so I could try to remember to circle back to it. But the first thing is, why are we hearing so much about Buffalo? Well, because that is the narrative that the left wants. That's what they're going to play up. And they're calling him what? A right-winger. Well, wrong. I've seen the manifesto. It's been leaked to me. I have it.
Yeah, I read it too.
He calls himself a progressive with communist leanings, authoritarian communist leanings. They will not tell you those facts. They're trying to paint him as a right-wing white supremacist. Well, this has nothing to do with replacement theory, even though that term has been bandied about. I was just on the Black conservative podcast out of California, the Kimberly Cloud Show, and we were discussing.
Yeah, this. Joseph, how did that get played out there? I seen that. Seen that podcast in its audio version.
Yeah,
which was a tremendous podcast episode, I may add. How did that? You guys got into a lot of good detail on that podcast.
Yeah, we went into this in depth, and Kimberly agrees with me wholeheartedly. At the root of this is the CRT that's being peddled in the school for years. We're talking about a high school kid being peddled critical race theory and constantly being harped at about race. And he snapped. Now, this kid was on the FBI's radar, too. He should have never gotten his gun legally because he has mental health issues. And he threatened to shoot up his school last year. These are facts you're not getting. Now, you could go to terrorstrikes.info/interviews.
Yeah, Hey, Joseph, you're touching on a story right there. I don't remember the NRA basically commenting on any of that.
Correct.
Did you see any of that come out?
No, of course not. And they haven't. But again, back to kind of Jimmy's point, I said there's 202 mass shootings. Buffalo is the one they've been waiting for so that they can spin the narrative. And I mean, Wisconsin, Waukesha, Wisconsin, the Christmas parade attack, one of the few attacks you've heard of, because at first they were covering it as if it were a horrible accident, that somebody accidentally turned onto the street where the parade was going and hit some people. No. Again, Darrell Brooks was known and was released the week before with the very same SUV that he ran down patrons at the Christmas parade, should have been in jail because the week before he tried to run over his significant other with that exact same vehicle. And I want to bring Afghanistan into this because Biden pulled out. Trump wanted to keep the Bagram base as a counter to China. Biden pulled out. Now Al-Qaeda and ISIS and all the other terrorist organizations have their camps up and running in Afghanistan again. So to your question, Jimmy, yes, there will be attempts on this nation by foreign adversaries again. But we too, and my book discusses both foreign and domestic threats. Like the New York City subway, like you said too, that got a day and a half's coverage because it didn't fit their narrative.
I don't remember CNN. CNN didn't. Yeah, Joseph, CNN didn't even touch that. They didn't even touch that. MSNBC didn't even touch it. I don't even remember seeing it on freaking Fox 5 or Fox here.
Well, what it is that it's the government and the ABC, the alphabet boys they know what they're doing. Just like you said, they watch so many people. That's their job, to watch people. Their job to flag you. They have the resources and technology. What they're doing is they're allowing this to play on each other, right? To keep us at constant war between race, between white and black. So they have black separatist militants who are committing terrorist crimes, and it gets downplayed. They get let out, and somehow some kind of guilt trip comes in. It's due to white supremacy. Then when you have these kind of these lone wolf attacks by white supremacists or these commie fucking left-leaning types of incels, white incels, then they play it up as if, now, because now the new narrative, right, is to constantly keep black and white at war, right? Because they don't want a united front between both races. They don't want us to actually come together. And then
it's disgusting, Jimmy, because they're selling that crap on national television.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go for it.
No, you're good. You and I have like literally the same viewpoints. We cut each other off.
Well, I think we are all on the same page on this. And
we're on the same page, but see, this is why me and Jimmy can relate so much, because like we come from like pretty much the same backyard. We're both from New Jersey. I'm a New Jersey native. So
yeah.
I mean,
but if you want to hear that whole Kimberly Cloud interview that goes an hour worth of in depth on this one particular slice of the subject, go to terrorstrikes.info/interviews. It's on that page.
We're getting into some good detail. I got to get a good break in, but when we get back, guys, we're going to be reaching out to a former guest that was on this show several times. PJ Agnes is going to be calling into the show here. Jimmy knows the man phenomenal. We spoke about 2 or 3 episodes. You're going to be introduced to him the very first time here, Joseph, on the show. Phenomenal individual. Jimmy here can relate. He can vouch for me on him. Very good stuff. He knows his stuff. Highly intelligent man, this guy is, Joseph. Yeah. But we'll be right back after these short words.
Yeah, we're 42 minutes in. We kind of missed a break a while ago.
I was supposed to plug it in about 30 minutes. I have to plug it in or I'm going to get in trouble. Here, we'll be right back, guys.
I'm Burt Jones. When I played for Georgia, we won the SEC championship.
Here's one, and it'll be first and goal, Georgia.
Not just because we had great athletes, but because we were bonded together as teammates, united by that G on our helmets, an important lesson about the power of unity. And it's why I'm so opposed to teaching critical race theory in our school systems. Instead of teaching children about what divides us, we should be teaching our children about what unites us.
And
we got myself here.
How appropriate was that Burt Jones commercial talking about CRT when we were just talking about CRT, which is really the root of what drove that kid to shoot up the Tops grocery store in Buffalo?
Well, he opposes it. He's an advocate that does not support it whatsoever, and he's a big Trump fan. He was actually endorsed by President Trump right here in the state of Georgia, and he is running for office. So we got to give Burt Jones a big support, on the show. He opposes it. So correction to you, Jimmy. I
thought I heard something different.
Last night I had to correct Jimmy on the show because we're sponsored through the National Republican campaign here on the show that supports the show. So I had to correct Jimmy that he opposes it, means he doesn't support it whatsoever.
I thought he said he supports it. I go, what the hell? I said we can't have this commercial for talking about this.
Right, he's in the wrong party if that were to be the case, right?
Yeah.
And Trump's endorsements have been he's 81-3 on his endorsements. Who are you? Are you supporting Purdue over Kemp down there? I take it, right? Purdue's not perfect either.
I'm supporting Purdue over Kemp. The reason why I'm doing that is because I've seen where Kemp has brought us as a state, and I look at Kemp more as a rhino, a turncoat, than an actual conservative Republican.
Yeah,
I see David Perdue. I see the vision. I see the message he wants to bring Georgia. Okay, he wants to bring us in a better path. He wants to steer us away from radical liberalism. And with Brian Kemp, I see more of a of a radical Democrat. A radical Republican right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was disappointed when Vernon Jones dropped out of the race. He would have really shaken things up because the most vehement conservative are those who recently left the Democrat Party, like Candace Owens or Brandon Strzok of the Walkaway movement. It's like a smoker. There's no one more anti-smoking than someone who just quit smoking. So there's no one more rabid against Democrats than someone who just recently left the Democrat plantation. So I was happy. I sent Vernon Jones money. I was very disappointed when he dropped out, but he wanted to consolidate behind Purdue. So I can respect that.
Yeah. They're giving, Joseph, they're giving Purdue a lot of crap, man, a lot of heat right here in Georgia. Joseph, have you seen? I don't know if you get the same type of advertisements up there, up north, but have you seen the advertisements coming out with Brian Kemp attacking David Perdue?
No, I've not seen those, but I can imagine they're vicious. Again.
Oh, they're very vicious, man. They're like, he's literally he's making a lot of falsehoods through those ads.
Yeah, well, and the thing that worries me, I need you to explain to me how your primary process is, because the thing that worries me, and I don't think it'll matter what the law is, the Democrats already clearly shown they don't care a whit about violating any campaign laws. Like in Michigan, we have a semi-closed primary. Anybody can walk in on primary day and say, I want the Democrat ballot or the Republican ballot. I want a completely closed primary. I don't think you should be able to vote in the Republican primary unless if you've been a registered, verifiable Republican for at least 3, 4, 5 years. Because what I fear is Stacey Abrams and her crew are going to try to help Kemp win the Georgia gubernatorial primary in the hopes that then Republicans will sit home on general election day and they can steal that governorship.
Well, see, here's the thing, and I'll let Jimmy talk here in a minute because I think Jimmy had a question. But here's the thing. What David Perdue wants to do, he wants to pretty much piggyback off of Kay Ivey, right, from Alabama. He wants to end the curbside voting. He wants to end the mail-in ballots. Kay Ivey, you seen in Alabama, the great state of Alabama, she's ended that.
Yeah.
You see the ad that I plug in, which is also supporting the show. A lot of conservative Republicans supporting the show here. I love it. We need more, but that's what David Perdue wants to do. And Brian Kemp sees it. Brian Kemp knows it. And that's why he's attacking Perdue.
Mm-hmm. You also got Pennsylvania's pretty interesting with fucking Dr. Oz running. He's a flip-flopper motherfucker. And honestly, the fact that he's currently he's like neck and neck.
Oh, hold that thought. We actually have PJ Agnes calling in on the show. I'm going to put the phone up to the microphone so you can hear it a little bit.
Oh, you got the new mic too.
Yeah, Pennsylvania won't be.
How you doing, PJ?
Friday.
Welcome to tonight's show, PJ. How's it going, buddy? It's been a while since we had you on the show. Doing pretty good here. Let me put you on. Oh, can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Okay. I'm just making sure that we have Jimmy here, Jimmy'The Rant, and then we also have Joseph M Lenard
What's up, PJ?
on the show. So,
Jimmy, good to talk to you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we also have Joseph M Lenard here on the show. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he is the author of Terror Strikes, which is doing phenomenal on the shelves across the state of his state and across America as well too. So
good to meet you, PJ. You need to hold the phone a little closer to the mic. I can barely hear him.
Congratulations on a successful book.
Yeah,
Thank
one
you.
second. Yeah, one second, Joseph. We're having some issues here. Let me plug out the Bluetooth here. 1 second, sir.
We lost you, Mike.
We can't hear you at all, Mike. Those gremlins again. I think the NSA is monitoring and tampering with the broadcast again.
He shut his mic off. Well, until we hear him. But yeah, like I said, Pennsylvania. It's odd too because Dr. Oz he lives in New Jersey, but he's like using his parents' address in PA. Like that guy shouldn't have any kind of vote. Yeah. Like you need to wake up. He's a fucking flip flopper. Get rid of him.
I don't care.
We're back here on the show. PJ, sorry about that, buddy. But yeah. So PJ, welcome to tonight's show. It's been a hot minute since we've had you on. I'd like to introduce you to Joseph M. Lenard, the author of Terror Strikes, and then of course Jimmy on the show with us. PJ, we're talking about CRT and we're talking about the mass shooting, which you wanted to come on this show. You reached out to me earlier today and said, I think we need to discuss this on the show. Can you give us a little insight here on your analysis of just what's going on with all this mass shooting, with all this violence, even the CRT, sir?
Well, I really believe that post-lockdowns, post-pandemic, not only was the pandemic, traumatic and scary for a lot of people, but the government's response to it just really destroyed mental health. There's a lot of data out on this now. The mental health of young people especially is worse than it has been in generations, if ever. And I really, truly believe that is not responsible, but adding to a lot of the mass shootings we're seeing. Obviously, there are a lot of factors at play here.
Oh, sure, absolutely,
worst mental health we've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with PJ. You're absolutely right. The Wuhan virus lockdowns destroyed the mental health of a lot of our children. Suicide rates among teens are way, way up, and I touch on that in my book because of that. The lockdowns didn't stop terrorism. They're happening, and you just hadn't been hearing about them because you probably missed that part of the show. And teen suicide rate, or suicide rates in general, but especially among teens who are already awkward and somewhat isolated and feel, isolated even in school when they're there. And then you take them away from that social setting and they become even more isolated. They become more internalized. Teen suicide is way up. And as we discussed, this kid that shot up Buffalo already had mental health issues. There is no doubt, PJ, like you said, it exasperated them.
Well, I think that they, the FBI and them, they allow these individuals to get away with. I mean, think about it like this: if you were involved in January 6th, they were coming to your house to find out where you were on that day and why. But you have an individual that says he's going to shoot up a school. He's on some kind of list. Nobody comes to speak to him. And then all of a sudden, they swoop in after he commits the crime. And listen, they have big time think tanks in these agencies as well as people who analyze the psyche all day. They pay top dollar for that. And I guarantee you the statistics, when you look at the stats, they know that people are going to commit. They know that, there's a very high chance of somebody maybe committing that crime. And, that they, considering they want to push a narrative, I don't think it's negligence. I think it's straight up. They just allow it because, like I said, and this is for, a question for PJ, but how do you feel about the government allowing, black separatist militant groups and Antifa and communist groups to kind of roam freely and commit all types of acts of violence, go unchecked? How do you feel about that? And is that also, breeding more type of violence from the other from other radical sides.
Well, you're absolutely right. They allow it. All of these mass shooters have red flags, and a lot of them were reported to the police, to the FBI. Schools are aware of them. If you go into any high school and ask the students who would be at risk for committing this type of crime, they'll tell you they know. Everyone who observes it on a day-to-day basis knows who these people are. There's plenty of warning, and if you could take what the manifestos that the mass shooters leave behind and put them side by side, put them together, they appear like they're written by the same author most of the time.
Yeah, PJ, I could basically vouch for that, sir. I mean, I agree with you. I know you follow, the mass shootings. You're a big advocate for personal protection as well. I mean, you're basically, your movement pretty much speaks on the words very, very heavily. And just to like kind of close it out, because we got about another 1 minute with you, sir, because we got to close this show out in about another 5 minutes. I have to make some room for another show I'm doing around 8:30. What is your view on the entire CRT basically now kind of in webbing with this whole mass shooting? Like, what's your last comments on that?
If you tell one class of people that they're always victims and another class of people that they are victimizers, it will divide people. It will turn them against each other. And violence should be completely expected. Oh,
without a doubt. PJ, I want to, I know it was, we kind of had it short here, but I do want to thank you for, coming on this show. I want to thank you for your time, sir. It's always an honor talking to you. Like I said, you've been on my show several times with, some really, really good knowledge of intelligence. And please don't be a stranger. You're always welcome back on the show, sir. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Mike. Thanks for having me.
All right, PJ. Have a great night, sir.
See you later, PJ.
Take care, PJ. And what Jimmy was saying, these people are known. I want to repeat that. It's like the Boston Marathon bombers. Do you remember them? The Tsarnaev brothers?
Yeah.
They were on the FBI's radar, too. They were on a terrorist watch list. They stopped watching them. The same with this kid. They interviewed him once. They knew he threatened to shoot up the school. They knew he was unstable, but yet they didn't keep watching him because why? Probably because they wanted something like this to happen, to allude to what Jimmy was alluding to.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Jimmy,
and in the meantime, like Jimmy was saying, January 6 people, they're hunting them down and persecuting them for what was only minor trespass. And you've probably heard the Whitmer, Michigan governor kidnapping plot, which was all an FBI setup also.
Yeah.
People with mental health issues, it was an FBI plot, not their plot, and they're likely going to be found innocent by a jury of their peers because it was all an FBI setup for a particular narrative that they want.
And Joseph, hold on, Jimmy. That's an entire different episode for an entire different topic. I do agree with you on that. Jimmy, you want to kind of get into anything here before we close it out? Like I said, guys, I do have to make some room for an 8:30 show that I have prior commitments to. So, the floor is yours, buddy.
No, I would just say that, there's been a lot of entrapment for a lot of people. And it's a shame because the reason why they pick on, the Patriot movement is because there's the most concern from the Patriot movement is you usually have a lot of people that are interested in kind of prepping, guns, Constitution, law, things that they know that a large majority of the radical left isn't really focused on as much. So, and also on the Patriot side, people they're not hiding the fact of who they are and what they are. So it's easier to come after the law-abiding citizens, right? Oh, why were you in this place? Well, I was there because I was, practicing free speech or, my First Amendment right. And it's easier to pick on those individuals than to kind of go after people that are all masked up and throwing Molotov cocktails and causing disruption and chaos on the streets. So, when we talk about terror strikes, the problem is that it's almost the same tactics that is used in the Middle East, right? Our occupation in those countries definitely breeded more terrorists, and breeded groups of individuals that ended up hating us due to a lot of the things that went on there. And for our boys that were over there, and 20 years we pull out and we give it back to an extremist radical group. So all those people that I went to high school with that went there, the people that died that I knew over there, their memories were pissed on by the government, by the Biden administration. So it's almost as if they're trying everything they can to breed terrorist cells in this country so that they can then use that as the catalyst to come in and take away your rights, your freedom, your right to bear arms. Because at this point, even with the Buffalo shooting, what's the thing that they're trying to push? Well, no, he wasn't a lone wolf. He had an online community. And so what does that mean? That you can't be part of an online community anymore? You can't talk to people
But see
anymore?
here, Jimmy, here's the thing, and we got to close it out here soon. I do apologize, Joseph and Jimmy, but like I'm looking at the time, it's cutting close here. But here's the thing. All right. When they talk about this, right, they're talking about, shootings. They're talking about this. They're talking about that, like what separates them from the next one. They're all connected to one another. Right? I mean, right, Joseph? I mean, they're all connected. They have connections to every single shooting that, from one shooting to the next shooting to the next shooting to the next shooting. They have to be looked at the same. They can't separate them and say, oh, well, that's different from the other one because that one was a brown individual and that one's a black individual and that one's a white individual and that's a yellow individual. I mean, I'm getting a little hysterical here, but I mean, you know what I mean?
There may not be direct connections, but there's commonalities. I think
commonality. There's the words. Yes.
Yeah, our biggest issue is that we know who the radicals are on the right. Who a white supremacist, a skinhead is. They are pretty open with who they are, and they flaunt who they are, and they're proud to be who they are. So you kind of know, like, all right, that guy's so and so. I'm going to stay away from him. The problem for us is you don't know the radicals on the left. They're peppered into every factor of society, and unfortunately, they're spewing their hate and their indoctrination wherever they can, wherever they go, under the guise that they're a stand-up person, and that and they're and they use a lot of virtue signaling and stuff like that. Like, look at me, I'm a good person, I stand up for this, and they're just as corrupt as those guys on the right side that are fucking marching around hating people. So
I want to push
Joseph,
back.
Hold on. I just got a comment from PJ that we had on the show about 5-6 minutes ago, saying that he's looking at your book, he's going to buy the book, and he's going to read it thoroughly. So Thank you very much, PJ, for the support to Joseph here. The man needs it. He's a very, very good conservative advocate for the conservative movement.
Yes.
With that being said, Joseph, I have to end it here. The floor is yours, sir. If you want to plug in any information about your book, your content, your material, sir. The floor is yours. 1 minute, sir.
All right. Well, I got to push back on PJ. Neo-Nazis are not on the right. Total government is always a leftist issue. Hitler was a socialist. He's a leftist. There's
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we cannot let the left redefine socialists and communists or Nazis as a right issue. It's not. But as to the books, thank you, PJ. And reach out to me at terrorstrikes.info. You can get an autographed copy there if you want, rather than obviously through Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, any of those other places. Terrorstrikes.info. Go to terrorstrikes.info/interviews. You'll see some previous Patriot the Patriot podcast interviews there, and a few others like the Kimberly Cloud one that we briefly mentioned that went into this more in depth.
Great stuff, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you to the Jimmy the Rant here for making some time here on his Wednesday evening. Very much appreciation. And guys, you heard it. The author of Terror Strikes, Joseph M. Lenard, here on the final installment of the Patriot Angle podcast, part 4. Guys, if you want to see the first 3 episodes of this exclusive mega podcast episode, you can follow that on Spotify, Google, or Apple, as well as Amazon Music, and as well as Audible. We are on the free section on Audible, so you don't have to worry about paying anything on Audible. I kept it free. It's not about the money, guys. It's about the content. I want the content to be heard so people can see the truth, see what's really going on in America. With that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one.
Patriot Unfiltered. You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle podcast, an unfiltered Patriot Productions. Please follow us on Facebook at the Patriot Angle Podcast and Instagram at Patriot_Angle_unfiltered. Also, you can hear every episode on Amazon Music, Audible, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast. You can also check out our website, PatriotAnglePodcast.com, and also our unfiltered merchandise, PatriotUnfiltered.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Rated mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.